Okay, let's see if the sound is working. I'm just gonna ask the question here and see if people can find the stream and also can uh, let me know if the sound is working. Sorry that we're having some difficulties. You can hear me okay? Okay. All right, let's just, okay, great, good. Let's begin then. So let's start by settling into our meditation posture. As usual, because I'm running a guided meditation via the internet, I have to have my glasses on and I'm staring at the screen, but probably it's best if you don't look at the screen and just, you know, get into your meditation seat and uh, take off your glasses if you have them and begin just settling in, sitting up nice and straight. Let's do that first. So, get into a nice upright posture. You want it so that your spine feels vertical and like the top of your head feels almost like it's hanging from a string from the ceiling, so that you're upright but you're real relaxed. There's a spot where you can sit upright where it feels like the body is just almost supported by something else, balanced, at ease. And from this place of relaxed, balanced openness, begin by thinking about things that you're grateful for. Just think of maybe two or three things that you feel grateful for on this day of Thanksgiving. And when you think about these things that you feel grateful for, just notice your heart opening and your mood softening and kind of glow coming into your being. And just let that sweetness fill space. And as you think of these things you're grateful for, you can say to yourself mentally, just thank you, thank you for all these things. And then from there, just set the thinking mind aside, like we normally do, and tune into the spaciousness of awareness that's there when we do that. Vast, open, clear awakeness that's there when we're not engaged with thought. And I think I said this last time when there wasn't any microphone, so I'll just repeat it here again so you guys can actually hear it now, which is um, this will be a shorter meditation, probably just about, 25 minutes, something like that. So now in this space of wide open, vast openness, filled with gratitude, filled with thanksgiving, the giving of thanks. Just notice the breath wave rising and falling and rising and falling. Not something we're concentrating on. As such, we're not hanging on to it tightly or drilling down. It's just in this space of awakeness, in the space of awareness, in this space of openness. A breath wave is one of the things appearing, rising and falling, rising and falling. One of the appearances in awakeness. And just feel how good it feels to breathe. The body loves to breathe. And simple, natural breathing in this spacious manner tends to feel extra good. So just tune into that now. Each time the mind attempts to pick up thinking, just don't pick it up. Come back to resting as openness, wide awake, wide open, clarity, spaciousness, ease. And don't pick up the thought. Come back to just feeling the breath wave. If you do pick up the thought, as soon as you notice it, just relax and let it go again. Come back to resting as open, awake, ease. Each time the mind grabs onto a thought, just let go again. Remember, of course, we're not trying to stop the thinking. We're not trying to control the thinking. We're not trying to do anything with the thinking except not engage. So just remain unengaged with those thoughts. And if you find yourself engaging, then just let go. It may be the case that you have to let go a lot. You have to let go over and over and over again, but that's okay. The more you do it, the more easy it becomes over time. Okay, good. Now, as usual, you can stay with that if you like, just resting with the breath wave and that feels comfortable for you. But if you'd like to do something a little more challenging, but also a little worth the challenge, as usual, we're going to look at that energy of thought. We're going to feel the thought activity. So now, remaining wide awake, wide open, very spacious, not narrowing down at all. Instead of noticing the breath wave, notice the, we'll call it fountain of thinking. It's not exactly a wave because it kind of bubbles and burbles. It doesn't have that same sinuous rhythm. Usually it's a little more random than that. But it reminds me of like a fountain where the water is just kind of continuously flowing, but kind of splashing and burbling in a little bit more of a random fashion. But it's still a flow. There's a flow of thought activity. Sometimes it stops for a while and then it will start again a little bit and then stop and then start some more. And then maybe there's a long bit of thought and then there's a couple little splashes of it. But what we're noticing is that thought activity is simply breathwave, just something that arises in the vast sky of awakeness. And we can just notice it without getting involved in it at all. In other words, we can notice it as activity, not as content. We don't have to get involved with the content at all. There's just that stream of blah 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 blah. That's the verbal part. And then for many of us, there's a visual part too. You might have images arising, pictures of the room around you, thoughts that are photos or movies or wispy visual things rather than verbal things. But same thing, we just notice that activity is a kind of flow of energy, flow of movement, flow of activity without engaging. So I'll be quiet now. Let's do this together for a while. It's a very, very powerful way to meditate. Well, let's just sit here as always, resting as wide awake, vast, spacious awareness, aware of thought activity while remaining entirely unengaged. this can be tricky because, of course, we're noticing the thought activity while remaining uninvolved in the content. And because we're noticing the activity, it can be a little more tricky, a little easier to get involved in the activity. So that's why this is more challenging. But you just keep working with it. Okay. Now you can stick with that. If you'd like to do something even a little more challenging, but as usual, also a little worth it, um, remaining as vast, spacious awareness with a stream of thought activity, whether fast or slow or almost not there at all, or maybe really cranking along, who knows, but with this stream of thought activity happening, find out what knows the thinking without getting narrow with your attention and without trying to think about it. Thinking about it is, of course, not what we're doing. Thinking about it doesn't help at all, just gets in the way. What I'd like you to do is find what knows this thinking, what is aware of this thought activity. Now, this is kind of tricky, but hint, it's not going to be a thought and it's not going to be a feeling and it's not going to be a body sensation. And it's not something you can narrowly focus on exactly. It just, it's almost like you wake up at night and you try to find your pillow behind you in the dark and you have to reach back and just sort of grope around until you find the pillow. I just want you to kind of experientially find what knows the thoughts, what is aware of the thinking. What is it that's having these thoughts? Again, it's very easy to say, well, me or my brain or whatever, but that's thinking. That's not what we're doing. We're directly experientially noticing what's knowing the thoughts. And this can be kind of because you can't really find something you could call a thing, noticing the thoughts. But you can find the sense of a feeling of me. There's the feeling of me. That's where the thoughts seem like they're coming from. And so, just again, staying wide open and not using your thinking at all, just feel into that feeling of me as deeply as you can, noticing that the feeling of me, a bunch of it anyway, is just more stuff appearing, arising in that vast sky of awakeness. Thoughts of me are just appearing. What knows those thoughts? Um, Emotions of me and me are just appearing. What knows those emotions? The body sensations of being me, this is my body, I can feel it, are just appearing. What knows those feelings? Look into this, feel into this, grope into this deeply. Don't give up easily. Keep looking. The answer is a strange kind of thing because it very often doesn't come all at once, but just little by little. And of course, it's not an idea, it's an insight. If you think you know the answer as an idea, you still don't know the answer, right? Just notice what thinks it knows the answer. And then what knows that? Keep looking, keep looking. You do this search over and over again over time. It will change your life dramatically. Even if you never find the answer, so to speak, the search itself is life changing. And you begin to notice things opening up and a sense of freedom coming into more and more parts of experience. But not just doing it once or twice, you have to do it a lot. And eventually notice who's even doing it. Or is the doing of it just another thing arising in this vast space of awake, clear, knowing? Okay, so for now, let's end that there. Very short meditation. But before we end, let's just come back to our gratitude. Gratitude for this day of Thanksgiving. Think about things you're grateful for, feeling that glow in your heart growing larger and larger. And Just repeat, even out loud. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. I'll see you soon. Thanks for joining me today. Bye bye.